Okay, so we're gonna plot these points, negative 2, 2, so negative 2 at 2, 0, 2, so we start 0, go up 2, and then we have 4, 2, so to the right 4, up 2, and then 7, 2, 7 and up 2. Notice they all make a straight line and they're horizontal. This is called a horizontal, okay? Horizontal line. Now, on the horizontal line, let's find the change. 7 minus 4 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. When I bring that over, I'm going to divide, and you always enter from the top down. 0 divided by 3. So 0 divided by 3. Oops. Divided by 3. Enter. You get 0. So the slope is 0. So a horizontal line goes side to side, and the slope of a horizontal line is 0. Now, negative 4, negative 5. So negative 4, negative 5. And then negative 4, negative 3. And then negative 4, positive 1. And negative 4, 10. Notice that makes a vertical line. Okay? So the way you can remember that is vertical. Goes up and down. Vertical line, when I subtract negative 4 minus a negative 4. Now some of you find this hard to believe, but negative 4 minus negative 4 is 0. When you subtract the same thing, you get 0. 10 minus 1 is 9. Now when I divide that, you have to enter from the top down. 9 divided by 0, you get undefined. So vertical line is undefined. So remember, undefined is like when you have the nose and the U underneath, undefined. And the horizontal on Mr. Slope, you have a horizontal line with the zeros. That's his mouth. Okay? So let's look at a couple of those. Let's refresh our memory. So the slope, if it's a vertical line, remember this is your nose, so this is undefined. The equation, it cuts through the x-axis. Okay? So x equals negative 5. The slope, if it's a 0, remember that's his mouth. Okay, so the slope is 0, and it cuts through, this is the y-axis, so y equals, and it cuts through at y equals negative 4. When I have a table, where are they all the same? They're all the same on the y, so y equals 6. And when you subtract, 7 minus 5 is 2, 6 minus 6 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0, so my slope is 0. On this one, where are they all the same? The x's are all the same, so x equals negative 8. And I subtract, negative 8 minus negative 8 is 0. 5 minus 3 is 2, and I bring that over. 2 divided by 0, when 0 is on the bottom, that is undefined. If I have 2 points, set up your t-chart. So you've got 4, 7, negative 2, 7. And then subtract. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. 7 minus 7 is 0. When I divide, 0 divided by 6, I get 0. Now, the equation, look to where they're the same. They're the same on the y side. Okay? So that means y equals 7. If I set my t-chart on the next one, on 11 and 12, you got 1, 3, and 1, negative 3. And if I subtract, 1 minus 1 is 0, negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. Swing it over, negative 6 divided by 0, that is undefined. And I have 1's that are the same, and this is the x column, so x equals 1. That's my equation. So number 13, I want to graph it. Well, it says x equals 3. So on the x-axis, go to 3, and I'm going to cut through at the 3. I'm going to cut through, so that is a vertical line. So remember, the slope would then be undefined. Okay. Y equals 3. Y, I'm going to go to the y-axis, go to 3. I want to draw a line through the y-axis. That is my horizontal line. And since it's a horizontal line, remember that would be a slope of 0. It's flat. So now we're going to ask some questions, and it's very important that you visualize it. There's a graph you can draw a picture on, and then we're also going to pay attention to the words. So parallel means it won't intersect, okay? Parallel means that they won't intersect. Parallel to x equals 3. So let's plot graphic x equals 3 first. So I'm going to go to the x-axis, and I'm going to go to 3, and I'm going to go through the x-axis at 3. There's my line. Now I want it parallel to the red line, and I want it to go through this point, 2, -4. So 2 and then -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 2, -4, and I want it to be parallel. So if it's parallel, it should be right beside it without touching it. So that means it's going to also be x equals, and my x value is 2, so it's going to be x equals 2. So on this one, if it's going to be parallel to x equals -2, same thing, but it's on this side. So here's x equals -2. And I have this point, 3, -2. So 3, -2. I'm going to go up and down, so I go through the x, so x equals 3. On 17 and 18, it doesn't want parallel, it wants perpendicular. Now perpendicular means they intersect to make 90-degree angles, okay? So I want it perpendicular to y equals -3. So I'm going to go to the y-axis, go to -3, and it's going to cut through the y-axis at -3. And I also want it to go through the point -1, 2. So -1, 2. So I want one that's perpendicular. Now if it's perpendicular, that means it needs to go down so that they intersect. So if it goes down, it's not going to be y equals, it's going to be x equals. And so look at who's in the x, -1. So perpendicular to y equals 5. So remember, y is going to go across. Y equals 5 is going to go across. And I want it to be perpendicular. Perpendicular means I want it to intersect. So this is going to be x. So look at the x value. X equals -4. Okay, let's try another one. I want an equation that's parallel. Parallel means they won't intersect to an undefined slope. Undefined, remember, this is undefined. So I want it parallel to the undefined slope. So you have, and I want to go through 4, -1. So let's graph that first. 4, -1 is here. And I want it to be parallel. That means I don't want it to intersect with an undefined. So that means I want it to go up and down. If it's up and down, I look at the x. So x equals 4. So if I want it to be parallel to undefined, undefined is up and down, remember, it's up and down, and I want to go through 2, -2. If I want it to be parallel to that, then you look at the x-axis, so x equals -2, that would be the equation. On 21, I want it to be perpendicular. Now perpendicular means they're going to intersect to align with the undefined slope. Undefined means up and down, and it's going to go through 2, -3. So let's go to 2, -3 first. 2, -3, so 2, -3. Now there's my point. I have a line that goes up and down, and I want it to be perpendicular, so that means this one has to go sideways. Because see, if it goes sideways, it would intersect. So if it's going to go horizontal, I need to look at the y value, okay? See, that would go through, if I had an undefined somewhere, don't know where it is, but the y would be perpendicular. So y equals -3. So if I want one that is perpendicular to the line with the undefined slope, so you've got your undefined slope, and then I want one that goes through 1, -1 and perpendicular, it'd have to intersect it. So y equals -1. On 23, I want one that's parallel. So that means I don't want it to intersect. Parallel to 0 slope. Now 0 slope, remember that's your face, your mouth with zeros. So 0 slope, you have a horizontal line. And I want to go through negative 4, negative 5. Now, I'm going to graph that negative 4, negative 5. So negative 4, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's that point. I want it to be parallel, so it means I don't want it to intersect with this. So picture a line somewhere like that. And I want it to be parallel, so I want it to go through. So if it's going to go through, that's going to be y. It goes through y equals. So look at your y, and so y equals negative 5. And then on 24, I want one that's perpendicular. Perpendicular means you want it to intersect to make 90-degree angles to a line with zero slope. Zero slope means you have a mouth with zeros. It's a flat line. That's a zero slope, and it goes to the point negative 4, negative 5. So negative 4, negative 5, again, is this point. And I want it to be perpendicular. Well, perpendicular means that instead of going the same, I want to intersect. So I want to go through the x. So x equals negative 4. So you just have to stop and think. But horizontal lines will always be y equals. Vertical lines will always be x equals. Always, 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 always. And then you need to picture the parallel where they don't intersect, and perpendicular is they intersect to make 90-degree angles.